May I have everybody's attention, please? Welcome to the special meeting of January 8, 2026. This is a special meeting for school board elections, which is why I get the opportunity to run the meeting. I want to say good afternoon or good evening to everyone. Thank you for coming. For those who are at home who are watching, thank you for being here. Tonight's special meeting will open with an invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation will be held by School Board Member Mark Ballou, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by School Board Member Patrick Martin. With that being said, Mr. Ballou.
Father, we thank you for this day, and we're grateful for having our talented staff and our students back at school, rested and safe. We hope you'll continue to watch over them. Tonight, as we make decisions that affect our school system, we ask that you help to make sure that those decisions are done thoughtfully, with grace and humility. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Before we like to call the meeting to order, may we have a roll call? April.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
Here.
District 2, Mr. Lannis.
Here.
District 3, Ms. Powell Lewis.
Present.
District 4, Ms. Stewart.
Present.
District 5, Mr. Lewis.
Present.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Present.
District 7, Mr. Gode.
Present.
District 8, Ms. Sule.
Present.
District 9, Mr. Martin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, April. Thank you, board members. We have two items for consideration this evening. Item number 1, election of president of the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board, election of the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board president. I will now open the floor for nominations for the office of president. Mr. Lanus.
I proudly nominate for a second term, Ms. Shoshone Stewart.
Properly motioned and seconded.
No second required for the nominations.
Okay, Mr. Martin.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate the longest-serving member of this board and the only one of us who is, by law, not eligible to for re-election to serve as president for this election year cycle. And so I nominate Mr. Mark Ballou.
All right, I don't see anyone else in the queue. If there are no other nominations are made, are there any comments from the audience? No comments from the audience. I will now entertain a motion to close nominations.
Move.
So moved by Board Member Laney, seconded by Board Member Lewis. We'll now vote by those of you in favor, aye.
Mr. Cole, I think you want to take, this is the closing, so you have a motion and a second. You do want to allow for board comment.
What we need to hear from the board? I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Someone may need
just
to make a
joking.
comment.
It's just a joke.
And then the voting process is a little bit different because you have multiple nominees.
Yeah.
April will call and each person will indicate who their vote's for.
All right. So are there any comments from the board? Coach Lewis.
I think Ms. Stewart has done an outstanding job over this past year and very well deserving of a second term.
Mr. Lannis.
Yes, I'll say, as someone who served in the role as president before, understanding everything that the role entails, I must say my hat goes off to Ms. Stewart. She's done a phenomenal job steering through a lot of the waters as we went through a rigorous realignment process. She has been more than open to talking to everyone, not only on this board, not only amongst your staff, but also amongst our community. I couldn't think of a better person to serve in that role for a second term.
Ms. Sule.
I have very much am very grateful, Ms. Stewart, for the role that you've played, and I'm really glad it hasn't been me yet. I'm thankful for you taking it on. I can imagine it was hard. I would love to see Mark Ballou have a spot in that role. As far as I know, you have not done the presidency yet. Is that correct? No. Okay. Yeah, I would love to see you have a chance to lead us in that way before your time is up on the board.
Any other comments from the board? At this time, we will now allow for the vote to take place by roll call vote.
I'm sorry, this is a motion and second to close nominations.
Now, when we tried to do that, you told me we couldn't do that.
Sorry. And once we close nominations, then the vote will be to select the person for the office.
Right. Motion to close.
Aye.
Do we need to vote on the machines?
Yes.
All right, I'll make sure you vote on the machine.
Please vote.
I think it's that new suit, Mr. Superintendent,
I see.
that our attorney got on over there. He clean, though. He clean.
It's not new, but okay.
Yeah, it is diligent.
April, you got a card right there. All right, now we will entertain,
I hadn't voted yet.
I'm still waiting.
It's coming in. It's coming in hot, baby. Now.
The motion carries.
all right, at this time, we'll take the vote, and we'll do so by roll call vote. Is that correct? All right. First up, April.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
I guess I'll go with Ballou.
District 2, Mr. Lannis.
The District 4, Madam, Ms. Stewart.
District 3, Ms. Powell Lewis.
Miss Stewart.
District 4, Ms. Stewart.
Miss Stewart.
District 5, Mr. Lewis.
Miss Stewart.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Mr. Blue.
District 7, Mr. Gode.
Miss Stewart.
District 8, Ms. Sule.
Mr. Blue.
District 9, Mr. Martin.
Mr. Blue.
Ms. Stewart has 5, Mr. Blue has 4. Ms. Stewart will be the president.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got, no, I was missing.
Okay.
At this time, we will entertain nominations for vice president of the board. Ms. Stewart.
I nominate for Vice President Cliff Lewis.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Mr. Martin?
Yes, I nominate Emily Sule for vice president.
Are there any other nominations from the board? Are there any comments from the audience? No comments from the audience. I will now hear from the board. Mr. Lannis.
Just be quick about this. I couldn't think of a better person who has a cohesion to work across all aisles, who's open to having discussions, even if he disagrees with the opposite side. He's always open to be a listening ear, and who just doesn't love Coach. So appreciate it. Got my vote.
Any other comments from the board?
I move we close the nominations.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, aye. Aye. Are there any nays? Now we vote for the machine.
Point of order, should we have gone to the audience after the motion?
I thought Mr. Cole.
That's the old way. I went to the audience
You
first.
went to the audience first.
Okay.
Yes.
Not for long. Yeah.
Please vote. The motion carries.
We will now open the floor for the vote for vice president.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
Ms. Sule.
District 2, Mr. Lannis.
District 5, Coach Cliff Lewis.
District 3, Ms. Powell Lewis.
Mr. Lewis.
District 4, Ms. Stewart.
Lewis.
District 5, Mr. Lewis.
I'm going to go with Lewis, too.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Sule.
District 7, Mr. Gode.
Lewis.
District 8, Ms. Sule.
Sule.
District 9, Mr. Martin.
Miss Sule.
5 votes for Cliff Lewis, 4 votes for Emily Sule. Mr. Lewis will be the vice president.
Congratulations, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, we need a new person to adjourn the meeting now that you're.
Actually, yes, Mr. Cole, we also need to swear in the officiants.
I do that too?
Well, I do that, yes.
Also at this time, we're going to swap seats. So take your laptop with you, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Gode, and Mr. Russ.
Oh, Nathan can stay where he is for tonight.
I know it.
Where you are, Nathan, if you want.
No, it's got to be in numerical order. You know, it's got to be what it's got to be.
He is what he did.
Consistency is a hobgoblin on small lines.
Oh, okay. I'll remember that one, Mike.
That's Emerson, I believe. Well, Emerson or somebody like that. Or you can just take it.
Is it your computer? Yep. There we go. So we'll give
Move on up. You're on this side. Come on. There you go. Go to first.
I,
I,
Shoshone Stewart,
Shoshone Stewart,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the laws of this state,
and the laws of this state,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties
and perform all of the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as President
as President
of the East Parish School Board,
of the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding,
and understanding.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Raise your right hand, left hand. Raise your right hand, left hand on the Bible. There you go.
Check the Bible. It's yours.
Repeat after me. I,
I,
Cliff Lewis,
Cliff Lewis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of this state,
and the laws of this state,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and
impartially discharge and perform all the duties
and perform all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as Vice President
as Vice President
of the East Parish School Board,
of the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding,
and understanding.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Cole.
Every year, you're ready for it. Look at your head. Oh, man, that's too funny.
My pleasure.
Okay, we got to log into the other meeting.
We need to adjourn this meeting, right?
I think we need to close the meeting.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
I move we adjourn.
So moved. Is there a second? Seconded. Motion by Board Member Gode, seconded by Board Member Russ. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion is adjourned. I mean, meeting is adjourned. We're gonna take yeah, I know, it's been a while. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a 5-minute break and reconvene our regular board meeting. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Thank you to joining us for our January 8, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting. And of course, this is our first meeting of the year. Thank you guys for coming out. And we don't have to do pledge or revocation. So we're going to start with the call to order. Madam Secretary.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
Here.
District 2, Mr. Lannis.
Present.
District 3, Ms. Powell Lewis.
Present, and I have a point of information. Is it coaches' night to run the meeting? Oh.
We're gonna let her have one moment of fame.
Okay. Present.
District 4, Ms. Stewart.
Present.
District 5, Mr. Lewis.
Present.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Present.
District 8, Mr. Gode.
Present.
District 8, Ms. Sule. District 9, Mr. Martin.
Here.
We have
Mr.
a
Martin.
quorum.
If I could have a moment of personal privilege, Madam President?
Yes.
I don't normally like to talk about personal things, but on Monday, my mother-in-law, Brian Post, passed away. And I mention that because not only is she a graduate and product of this school district, but she taught in our district for 37 years. She graduated from Baton Rouge High School in 1959 and began teaching there as soon as she graduated from LSU in 1963, starting in that very first year that the Baton Rouge school system finally started to desegregate. So she taught in very interesting times. She also, Mr. Blue, spent a few years teaching at Broadmoor High School, and was the advanced math teacher at Baton Rouge High. And I've talked to so many people who remember her fondly as their teacher. And anybody who can survive 37 years in this thankless profession has got the patience of a saint. So I appreciate her service very much, and on a personal level, she was a wonderful mother-in-law to me, and we're going to miss her very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And condolences. Now we're going to go to item B on our agenda, information only. It's the fiscal transparency report. Moving along to C, receive as information only, and I'm going to hand that over to our superintendent.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Good afternoon again to all of you who are here and those of you at home. Thank you for an opportunity to serve for another month as superintendent of schools. Tonight, we're going to hear from one of our phenomenal school leaders about the work she and her team are doing at one of our elementary schools here in East Baton Rouge Parish school system. Ms. Callaghan has done a phenomenal job when she was asked, you can come on up, Ms. Callaghan, when she was asked to take over. When she was asked to take over at Shenandoah Elementary. So she has been there a year and a half. This is her second year. She's doing an extremely great job. I was there on yesterday in carpool line with she and her team as they were welcoming our students back to school. So it's just really wonderful to see. So at this time, we want to hear about the wonderful things going on at Shenandoah Elementary School. So I'd like to turn it over to Miss Elizabeth Callaghan.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Again, I am Elizabeth Callaghan. I am the principal at Shenandoah Elementary School, but this work that I'm going to talk about today could not be done without my fabulous team that is here to support me. So if you're from Shenandoah, please stand up. This is just
Look at that. Somebody got to get excited about learning. Somebody.
just a small portion of our team, but they did come out to support our school, and the work could not be done without them. So I'm so thankful that they're here tonight. A little bit about Shenandoah. We have about 570 students. We serve grades pre-K through 5th grade. We have gifted resource, an ELL population, ESS, and we also have pre-K. 60% of our students are economically disadvantaged. 51% are African American. We have 14% of our population are ESS, 8% gifted, and 7% ELL. I'm going to focus mainly on the school year of 2024-2025 because that was my first year at Shenandoah. Last school year, our SPS came back at an 89.4% B, which was a 5.5-point increase from the previous year. We are very proud of this accomplishment. A lot of hard work was put into that. We were a top gains honoree school. Our progress index was 78.4% B. Assessment index 108.1A, and our research shows that we are the highest non-selective school in the district. So we are very proud to have that under our belt. So we're very close to that A and very close to that next level. These charts are in our teachers' lounge because it shows how far we've come and how close we are to our next step. Last school year, we went up in every single subgroup. Our students with disability, our economically disadvantaged students, white, Hispanic, Black, and Asian subgroups all increased last school year. And we know that the state is moving to a new scale for next school year. And the district gave us a simulated score, and if we use that simulated score for this year, we would be an A school. So we have that shining bright in our lounge. Last school year for that 24-25 LEAP test, the red indicates what groups grew the most. Our 4th grade and 5th grade LEAP scores remained at 70% of our students are mastery or advanced, which is a huge accomplishment. We grew mostly in 4th grade and 5th grade math and science. A lot of hard work was put into those groups, and those results show that. So we're very proud of those grades. And again, this shows our mastery and advanced scores. Dibbles will now count for our SPS starting this school year, so I wanted to showcase that. Last school year, our K through 3rd grade readers ended the school year with 70% of those students being benchmark, which is benchmark or above benchmark on literacy skills. They came back to us, either our students or new students to the school. They started the school year out at 64% benchmark, and we just finished our middle of the year Dibbles testing, and 71% of our students are reading on level. So we have an aggressive goal to end the school year anywhere between 78 and 80%, and we have our eyes set on the prize, and we're going to get there. Our teachers do a phenomenal job, and we know we'll reach our goal. I wanted to showcase what truly makes Shenandoah shine bright. I didn't mention in the beginning, our school slogan this year is Soar Above and Shine Bright. This is our year to sparkle. I say that every morning. And so I talked about how we soared. Now I'm going to talk about how we're shining bright. And the reason why we can shine so bright is because of our community. From our students to our parents, and to our teachers, everyone puts in significant work. We have a very diverse student population, a very strong parent organization. They put on some major fundraisers every year, such as the Color Run and our carnival. We also have free quarterly family nights once a quarter that all of our communities invited to. The PTA takes that money back into teacher grants and student and staff incentives. And our teachers, all of these things that I'm going to talk about are things that our teachers do to make our school so special, how they go above and beyond. We have new, since I've started, Beta and 4-H. One of our teachers got a grant, and we're going to start robotics soon. Interventions happen daily, every single day. We have gifted, resource, and talented. And our talented department, even some of our ESS kids can reach to get to talented, so it's super special. We have musicals, art shows. We brought back our sports teams for this year, so we have volleyball, cheer, basketball, track and field. We have many nights throughout the year to educate our parents, such as Literacy Night, STEM Night, Dibbles and ELP Night. And this year, for the first time, we had a cultural diversity fair, which was super fun. Our families from different cultures set up booths one night at our school. We had food, dress, even dancing in different cultures. So it was so much fun to learn about that. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be on the calendar from here on out because it was so much fun. We do have before and after care at our school, tutoring in the afternoons. We put on 2 different living wax figures for our 3rd grade, and then our 4th and 5th grade do a Native American museum. And this year, I started a relationship with LSU. We have 5 student teachers, and in the fall, we had 22 interns that worked at our schools for, I think it was 8 weeks in our ELA and social studies classrooms, and they will return next school year. So we were super excited about that. We know we want our school to feel like home for our students and our teachers. It's so important that our kids come to us happy and safe. So all of this, we feel like we're really getting there. But along with that, our facilities have really had some updates over the last year and a half. We've put a lot of hard work. Hess has been phenomenal to our school. I'm so thankful for them. Pretty much, it seems like anything I ask for, we get, and I'm not complaining about that at all. Between our site manager, Krista, and our weekly technician, Chris, to the EBR facilities people, Jonathan and Casey, they've just been wonderful to Shenandoah. We have updated, all interior doors have been painted. We've got new carpet in the auditorium and library. Our halls have been painted. Buildings and sidewalks have all been power washed and clean. We got new exterior lighting and fans for safety, a new playground, and they are so attentive to our day-to-day work orders and needs. So we're super thankful for that. And then our PTA has been wonderful. We got a new shade sail and a new circulation desk for our library. So I believe all of these things, along with the hard work from our staff, really makes the people that come to our school, students and adults, very happy to be there. So I'm proud to lead that, and I just wanted to showcase our united front, from our janitor to our cafeteria ladies and everyone in between. That's a little bit about Shenandoah.
Thank you very much, Ms. Callaghan. You can really feel the positive energy in the school building. I've had the pleasure of visiting there many, many times in a short period of time. So keep up the excellent work.
Thank you.
And I'm sure Mr. Russ wants to compliment you as well.
I will if do I have permission to speak. All right. Thank you, Ms. Callaghan, for coming and telling all the board in our community about the great things happening at Shenandoah. Both my kids have been students there. One still is. And, Ms. Callaghan came in, fairly recently, but really has been a force of stabilization and care, and has brought so much to the leadership that was needed at the school that we appreciate so much. And I'm just really proud of the work that you've done just growing that SBS score, because it's just a number, but people don't understand like the sweat and the hard work and the diligence that goes into growing students. And my students were some of those students that grew, that really needed that attention. And so I can say very personally that number reflects real students and kids that are set up to succeed and continue their education. So we're really thankful for you and your team and for all educators that work there. Thank you to our school system for the investments in our facility there that were really sorely needed. I know that looks like a huge list, and we might be thinking, why can't we do that at every school? But Shenandoah hadn't been touched in years. And I can tell you, when students and when families came back to school this year, it was like a brand new school. And the kids came home, my kids came home like excited, and they were like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And it changes how kids feel about the space that they're learning and going every day. And so I hope that we can give that treatment to every school in this school system at some point. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. Mr. Lannis?
Thank you. Completely compliment everything that School Board Member Russ said. it's so much history, rich history in Shenandoah Elementary. I can remember being a student at Forest Heights, and we would come there for the festival every single year. And just being on that campus, I was like, I want to come over here. And a lot of my classmates did too. But there's a few things that stood out in your presentation that really touched me. It was one, the population of students that you serve and the way that it was so diligently broken down. But it's the achievements and the way that you go about reaching every single one of those kids inside of those classrooms.
That's right.
And you cannot do that without a team that's willing to buy in to everything that you are putting forth. And it's the fact that looking at your history in the years and the way that you were able to jump in that 1 year, my hat goes off to you and your leadership, because stepping into those shoes of running Shenandoah, that's no small feat. So continue doing the great work there. My only problem that I have with Shenandoah is that that building should match the success of the students and the teachers that go there. It's the reason why I say that. When I had an opportunity to serve in leadership, Mr. Russ, one of the first things he did was he called me. And he said, I want you to just come and see the work happening at the place. And we went into the classrooms, we talked to students, we talked to the then principal, we talked to teachers. Everybody was excited. They didn't even care that the building was falling apart. But the message tonight is the building is falling apart. Literally, one of the buildings, I think it was the T building, we walked inside of it. I stepped on the floor and my foot almost went through that hole.
Yes.
That school should get the same tender love and care that we're giving every other schools. And if I could do anything before I step off this board, I want to see that we were able to fix that school and give you all what you deserve, which is another reason why I want you all to stay in EBR, because you are heart of our district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
Ms. Callaghan, congratulations to you and your staff. And I've said it numerous times, great teachers make great students.
Right.
So it's obvious that you have a great supporting staff in the classroom, in the front office, from front to back.
I have the best. I do.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And I believe it. So please just keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Paul Lewis.
Hi, Ms. Callaghan.
Hi.
Thank you so much for sharing this report with us. One of the things that I noticed that does kind of differ between the different regions of our district is parental involvement. And I noticed how you displayed the intentionality of the parents at your school. And I would just love to talk to whomever is your PTA president and possibly get them partnered with some on the other side of town, so that way we can build those PTAs up in all of our elementary
Sure.
and middle schools.
I'd be happy to do that, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shamlin.
I don't normally get to speak on items outside of the legal part, but I want to reflect some things Mr. Russ said. My nephew's son attends school at first grade at Shenandoah, and he has one of the best teachers in the country, Miss Creighton. Stand up, Miss Creighton.
40 years, 40.
Yeah. But I will tell you that all the stuff that Mr. Russ and the others have said about academic performance, all of those things are true. I started my career as a teacher. I know what goes into all of that. But I will say, even more importantly, when my son leaves my truck in the morning, he wants to go to school. He's happy. He looks forward to it. And that's important. So in addition to him performing academically, what's more important is he's comfortable, he's happy, and you guys really kind of give him a family feel approach to it. I don't normally get to speak outside of my role here, but I appreciate y'all letting me say that.
Thank you,
But
Mr.
I want to
Shaman.
thank you and the staff and tell you guys we really appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all the comments.
Unless you have anything else, Ms. Callaghan, thank
No,
you
just-
so much for the work, the presentation, and your continued efforts to serve our students.
Thank you.
And Ms. Callaghan, while we love and appreciate your team being here, you guys don't have to stay the entire time, but you're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to stay for the entire 6-hour meeting if you want to, all right? But I do know Ole Miss plays Miami tonight, and some people may be looking forward to watching that game, so you guys don't have to stay. Right, I'm just letting them walk out, yeah. You're supposed to read that though, right? Yeah. No, you are. Yeah.
My
Moving along to item number 2 is the presentation of the 2024-25 audit results.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. I want to introduce Amanda Stryback with Eyes and Amper to provide information on our current yearly audit.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Strebeck. I am the engagement partner for the audit. I work at Eisner Amper in our Baton Rouge office here. I'm joined with Matt Bro, who's the senior manager on the engagement, and he helps facilitate the day-to-day and get us to this point. We traditionally have met with y'all in December. This year we had some delays in some of our audit guidance due to the government shutdown, and so we had to ask for an extension with the legislative auditor, but we are here tonight. We are substantially complete with the audit and plan to get that issued tomorrow, ultimately filed with the legislative auditor, and be able to mark this as done for y'all for fiscal year ending 2025. I want to go over just a few items, some required communications, a brief summary of the audit results, and a few highlights. So our responsibility is to issue an opinion over the financial statements, that those statements are reasonably prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And y'all also follow government auditing standards as well, which we call the GASBs. So our responsibility is to give an opinion. We do not take responsibility for preparing the financial statements, all the Excel, all the Word. The information that goes into the audit is the responsibility of management. They provide us with that information, we audit it, and we give an opinion. So we are pleased to report that we're going to issue an unmodified opinion over the financial statements, which is a clean audit opinion. From an audit perspective, there are a lot of significant estimates in the financial statements that we spend a lot of time looking at related to your retirement benefits, your claims payable, and all of those. With those assumptions, management has to make decisions. So we have to look at those to make sure that they are reasonable, they're supported, and then y'all also utilize actuaries to determine what those long-term liabilities will be. And so we evaluate the actuaries that management has selected to make sure that those assumptions are reasonable as well. So there were no significant issues that we would need to report over that either. This year, the school board did have to adopt GASB 101, which is related to compensated absences. And so this is basically looking at any of your sick leave, your vacation leave, things like that, anything that's earned in the current year that's going to be paid out in subsequent years, it needs to be reflected in the current year numbers. We're trying to put those expenses in the year that they're earned. And so that required a significant estimate liability added to the books of approximately $8 million for the 2025, and then there's what we call we had to restate the prior year financial statements, the opening balances, because that's what the standard requires. So that is included in the financial report. That is required, but there were no real significant issues there either. There were no other disagreements. We will obtain representation letters from management basically saying that they provided us all the information. There's a lot of activity that occurs at the school board that all goes through the financial system, but there's also a lot of activity, whether it's lease agreements, subsequent events like related to the bond offering that y'all have, those kind of things, just making sure that we've been given all the information to audit. So I mentioned earlier, we did issue an unmodified opinion on the basic financial statements, and so that includes the general fund, all the fund level information. I do want to point out that each year the school board has elected to participate in the GFOA and the ASBO, and so that's a certificate of excellence. So that requires additional information be included in the financial statements, statistical schedules, letters, things like that. And so for 39 years, y'all have received that certificate of excellence. Y'all are going to apply for this year for your 40th year. That's a significant feat. The financial statements alone are up to 140 pages now. This is what the final document will look like when you have to print it out. So it's a significant effort on behalf of the finance department and numerous other people across the school district. As part of our audit, we also audit the federal programs. And so we have to look at compliance in accordance with government auditing standards and uniform guidance, so your federal programs. So y'all had approximately $112 million in federal funding for 2025. And so we have to look at a risk assessment, and we look at large programs and various determinations to determine which programs we have to look at each year. So this year we selected Comprehensive Literacy State Development, which is approximately $6.7 million, and your Title I funding, which is approximately $34 million. And so I'm pleased to report that there were no findings over those programs. Federal programs, the compliance supplement outlines what you have to comply with each year. And so, your program directors have to make sure that they're receiving adequate training. They're looking at new programs. And so they make sure that y'all have good policies and procedures in place for compliance. And so that is very good news as well. I do want to point out that, your federal funding, this year, I said it was $112 million. It was $168 million in the prior year. So federal funding has shifted a lot. The ESSER funding is now gone. That was almost $63 million last year. Winding down this year, there's only $10 million. So that was a big shift in funding. And then also child nutrition. As you know, with COVID kind of winding down, a lot of those programs to offer summer feeding, extra meals throughout the year, some of that funding has shifted as well. And so that funding has gone down almost $4 million year over year. So each year, there's new programs that come about, but that is a significant portion of y'all's revenue and expenditures. So as part of our audit and closing out, we look at your internal controls. We don't give an opinion, but we do evaluate those. We do walkthroughs. We look at that to make sure things are in place, whether it's accounting transactions, reconciliations. We look at the IT system. That's a significant portion of, the data input, making sure that what's going in is coming out correctly, things like that. And so, again, we're required to give an opinion over the financial statements and the federal grants. There was one finding, a compliance finding to report related to the Child Nutrition Program and the Local Government Budget Act. Anytime your revenues are going to fall 5% or more below what you budgeted, you have to have an amendment, or there's a budget violation. Same thing if your expenditures go over by more than 5%, and you don't have a budget amendment, then you have results in a finding. So with child nutrition and given the significant change in funding year over year, the shift in the programs, there was shift in program directors. Y'all did have a budget violation related to overspending the expenditures. But what I do want to point out is, so yes, the expenditures were over, but we didn't identify anything that led us to believe that any of this money had been misspent. You're not having to go back and pay back child nutrition. The general fund had to cover that to make that fund whole. And but we are required to report that because we do have to evaluate compliance with state law. So that is included. That is the only finding. There were no other findings related to the financial statements or the federal grants. There are two other procedures that we are required to prepare and work through, what we call the BESI agreed upon procedures, and then the statewide agreed upon procedures from the legislative auditor. Agreed upon procedures are different. There is no auditor judgment, there is no materiality, and we don't issue an opinion. It's yes or no, and that any exceptions are reported in the report. So with BESI, there were a few exceptions reported, minimal ones related to class size, and that's looking at the count. So that's a point in time. And so they're trying to take the roll books to the class council 10-1 and look at that. There are always variances. Children are coming in and out constantly. There were no significant differences. It was like one child here or there. We see that in the majority of our school boards just because it's very difficult to get a point in time at that point. For the statewide agreed upon procedures, y'all were able to do the rotation. The legislative auditor has allowed you to rotate the procedures every other year if you don't have any exceptions, just to try to minimize the time and effort for your team and our teams. There were two exceptions over sexual harassment training. And again, as I mentioned, there's no auditor judgment here. So what I want to make clear about that is y'all did have sexual harassment training. It was 50 minutes and not 60 minutes. So it has to be reported. It's going to be in the document, but it doesn't elevate to a compliance issue or a internal control issue. These will just stay in those reports. But we are required to report those. Yes, sir?
Mary, just a quick comment. In the future on the reports, could you put sexual harassment training not just sexual harassment.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. We're unfortunately so used to shorthand, I guess. 2 exceptions, no. Noted, thank you. All right. So that's kind of a recap of the audit. So again, it was a clean opinion. There was 1 finding and a few exceptions in the agreed upon procedures. But overall, a very clean audit. There were no other matters that we feel like we needed to disclose or report in writing or either to the board tonight. So I wanted to just kind of go over a recap of some of the dollars where y'all ended for June 30th. And so this first statement is just the general fund only. Y'all ended the year with total revenues of approximately $592 million, with expenditures of approximately $595 million. Other financing sources come in, so that's some of those indirect costs that you've received from the federal programs and some transfers that come in. So at the end of the year, you had a surplus of approximately $2.7 million. So that's a positive number. So that means that, your revenues were exceeding your expenditures. Y'all were following your budget and able to, clear a little bit more in revenues. Y'all saw a big increase in tax collections and MFP money during the year. And again, there was a little bit of decrease in your federal programs, but a lot of that was offset by salary increases as a focused effort of the board to raise salaries and things like that. So again, that's all moving in a positive direction. You'll have an internal policy to set aside approximately 15% of funding of your current year revenue, just to try to make sure that y'all have what we call fund balance. So that's just money that stays each year for next year and the next year, just to make sure that there's funding and resources available going forward. And so you can see that has continued to trend up since 2021. This slide shows the fund balance for all funds. So this is in general fund, your federal funds, your internal service funds, and this kind of categorizes what that fund balance of $412 million, how is it allocated? Some of this money is allocated internally, and some of it has to be allocated by external resources. So at the top, the $1.6 million, that's related to inventory for child nutrition. The green section, the $229 million, that's related to tax external parties. So like the proposition money that y'all have, that's sitting in there, grants, student activity accounts, things like that. The yellow is $39 million is board assigned dollars, where y'all are setting aside things for transportation and various upcoming events. The blue is where we really want to focus. This is what we call the unassigned amount. This has no restrictions. So this is for what's going to be needed in the upcoming years. And so that you are at $106 million compared to $101 in the prior year. So that's a $5 million increase right there of just, being able to monitor the budget, save some money, be prepared. And then at the bottom, the purple is approximately $35 million, and that's related to the internal service funds and those dollars that are reserved for medical risk management, et cetera, workers' comp. The following is government-wide. So y'all, on a month-to-month basis, y'all are looking at everything on a fund level. Money in, money out, revenue and expense. It's a one-year focus. The financial statements require that you also prepare schedules that show the long-term activity. So all of your long-term assets, which are your capital assets, the buildings, all that type stuff, and then your long-term debt. And so your long-term debt consists mainly of that compensated absences, retirement benefits. That's a huge number. And so this schedule is reflecting all of that. And so you can see, if you look at what your total assets of 954, the majority of that is in capital assets and buildings. And then debt down here, approximately 870, 793 of that is related to long-term. And that moves us to what's called net position. So, we talked previously about fund balance and how that's allocated. This talks about how the long-term assets and liabilities and all of that's allocated at the government-wide level. And so the majority of that, again, is in your net investment in capital assets. A portion of it's restricted. And then you'll see that the unrestricted portion is a deficit. And so that has been the trend, and that is related to all those retirement benefits. Those are not fully funded. They're not fully funded for the majority of governments, and so you'll see that this is there. It is trending in a more positive manner as y'all are able to save some money each year, but that is kind of where that lands. And I do want to point out that there were no significant audit entries that had to be made, so that the numbers that y'all are looking at on a monthly basis as y'all are making decisions and looking, those numbers did not change significantly. The outside of, we assist with some of the entries for the leases and some of the long-term assets, like that stuff gets recorded. But the day-to-day transactions, there were no significant audit adjustments or any other significant audit issues that we would need to report. We work with a lot of people during the audit: finance, payroll, IT, HR, the various program directors. They all spend a lot of time providing the information that we need and answers. And so we are very, very appreciative of that. And we're very pleased to be able to serve the school board. So I'm willing and open to answer any questions.
Ms. Carla Paul Lewis.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I wanted to ask, from page 3, you mentioned about the representatives' reports, and I just wanted to ask, what was the timeline for that? You're saying that our departments have reports that they have to turn in to you?
So we haven't issued the representation letters because we have to date them. We'll probably date everything tomorrow. And so we will get all that signed tomorrow. We get that for the financial statement audit as well as both agreed upon procedures engagements.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then you also mentioned about our 39 years of a certificate of excellence in the area of finance.
Financial reporting.
Wow, so I know who our current financial leader is, so I know she doesn't like the spotlight, but Ms. Kelly, thank you so much.
And Mr. Crochet before that, so.
I'm Mr. Crochet, okay.
It's been like I said, not every school board prepares this level of detail for the annual comprehensive report and goes through that level of scrutiny to receive that award, but it shows quality and effort in trying to achieve excellence in financial reporting. And these numbers, and these reports are a significant part of, the activity of the school board.
Okay, thank you. The other that I have is actually a conversation for later when we talk about the budget. But then also, lastly, this may be a question for Ms. Lopez. On page 8, with looking at the internal service fund net position, and maybe it's a question for you, I'm not sure. What caused the significant difference in those two numbers between 2024 and 2025?
That's a great question. That is a strategic approach. So for several years, y'all had what was considered an excess and fund balance over those programs. And that those programs they have a lot of different variables. What are the premiums? What are the claims expenses? What has to be paid out potentially in any type of litigation? And then also there's an actuarial piece to that as well. So those numbers are going to fluctuate. Those expenses are going to fluctuate each year. And so over time, the fund balance was adding up a little bit. And there were strategic decisions several years ago, it probably was even more than 5 years ago at this point, I kind of lose track of time, but to hold premium steady, be mindful of using down that fund balance and only having a certain minimum fund balance available. It's a sufficient amount, it's in compliance, but that's not a fund balance that you're going to see steadily grow.
Okay, I got you.
So management monitors that very frequently to make sure that, y'all stay in compliance with that.
Thank you. And they know I ask a lot of questions about the fund balance, so thank you.
It's a very important number. So.
Mr. Lannis.
Thank you. Kelly, can you come down? Is Kelly in the building? I'm going to piggyback off something that Board Member Paul Lewis said. I know you don't like the spotlight, but I'm going to give you your flowers. I'm going to tell you the reason why.
Okay.
I don't think people understand the rigor of trying to put all of this together on a consistent basis answering so many requests from people, not just board members, but the community as a whole. And you have held steady while we have constantly made modifications to this process. So I think you deserve another round of applause. And just to add something that I wanted you to also just add to this, over the course of the last, and correct me if I'm wrong, over the course of the last 3 years, we have made significant investments in terms of our employees. So when you asked about how some of that money drew down and why it was in those large increments and pots, I know a lot of that happened back when Superintendent Narcisse was here. When it transitioned over to Superintendent then Adam Smith, he also made a commitment. I know that Superintendent Lamont Cole has also made a commitment to using money to not only build up the rigor, build up the morale of our staff, but also giving them what they rightfully deserve. So I know a lot of the money was used for that. So I would say kudos to you all for using it in the right way. So I know when those questions come up about that, you know, how was it used? I know personally when I asked those questions and saw the movement, that's where it was. And Mr. Goday, I'll tell you this all the time. I'm gonna tell you again, I wanna thank you because when it comes down to those tax rolls, when you were in leadership, that was one of the things that you were adamant about was us rolling forward. So when you look at those tax dollars that are coming in, a lot of it has also contributed to your leadership and telling us at that time to roll forward. And we've been seeing all of those dividends come back in a way that has helped us tremendously, of course, our district. So my hat goes off to you all. Thank you. And just for the record, our books are clean?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez, for letting us work on your nerves.
Are there any other additional board comments? Seems like there's no more. Superintendent, you have anything?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Sincerely appreciate you. And thank you, Kelly, for being firm, being fair, but always putting students first. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Next, we move to item D, items for consideration. The first item, 1, is the charter application for Harvest Commons Charter School. Discussion consideration of the Harvest Commons Charter School application and related matters. Mr. Tyler.
Good evening, President Stewart, Vice President Lewis, members of the board, and Superintendent Cole. This agenda item reflects the East Baton Rouge Parish School System established charter application review process designed to ensure consistency, rigor, and alignment with our responsibilities as the local charter authorizer. During this application cycle, the district received 2 charter applications. One is Harvest Commons and the other is Community Roots Leadership. The charter office led a structured multi-step review process that included initial completeness and eligibility screening, an internal cross-departmental review, an independent third-party evaluation, and an administrative synthesis to inform the board for consideration. The internal review team was composed of representatives from East Baton Rouge Parish Academic Departments, Finance, Community Engagement, ESS, ESL, Facilities, and Human Resources, ensuring each application was reviewed across instructional, operational, compliance, and student support areas. In addition to the internal review, the district engaged in an independent third-party evaluator through a criteria-based selection process to ensure technical expertise, objectivity, and alignment with Louisiana accountability standards. The Learning Collective was selected based on strong recommendations from the National Association of Charter School Authorizers, demonstrated experience working with the Louisiana Department of Education, and the experience supporting other local districts and state agencies in the same capacity. The third-party evaluators served in a technical and advisory role. Their analysis informed the charter office recommendation to the board. Our first applicant is Harvest Commons Schools. At this time, based on the completed review process, the charter office will be following the recommendation of the Learning Collective recommendation to not approve this application moving forward. We do have members of the Learning Collective here virtually to respond to any of the board members' questions. We also do have the members of the Harvest Commons team to answer any questions the board members may have.
Ms. Carla Paul Lewis.
I think we're supposed to go to the audience. Always win.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. Are there any online comments, Coach? No.
We don't have any online comments.
They are public.
I'll go back and check and refresh. We didn't have any the last time I looked.
Okay.
No, we do not. Okay.
Well, let's do this. I know that the team from Harvest Commons is here and wants to make some comments. So let's allow them to make their presentation.
That's why I entered the queue.
Yeah, let's allow them to make their presentation, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you so much. Well, you will get to know me very quickly, this is something very passionate to me, and I'm very emotional about it, so buckle up, okay? Good evening, school board members. I'm Sarah Schnauder. I'm the founder and CEO of Harvest Commons School. I'm an entrepreneur and educator here in Baton Rouge with a track record of building successful mission-driven organizations from the ground up. I founded Kid Possible Summer Camps 11 years ago and grew it from a small startup into an organization that now serves over 1,000 children a summer from 56 local schools. I later co-founded the Link School, a diverse community where 44% of our students qualify for IDEA services and 52% qualify for free and reduced lunch. Most recently, I led the turnaround of a well-established early childhood center to profitability, implementing a Tier 1 curriculum, and joining the East Baton Rouge Parish Early Childhood Network within 4 months. Today, I am proud to support children from birth through 5th grade. Across my work, I focus on building sustainable systems, developing strong teams, and creating immersive learning environments where students thrive academically and socially. At the core of my leadership is a commitment to innovation, community partnership, and expanding what's possible for students and families here in Baton Rouge. For children, I'm known for my painted nails in fun colors, dressing up as a chicken, trimming a goat's hooves, learning alongside them, even with a sledgehammer, and leading Friday dance parties. For the adults I work with, I'm known as driven, passionate, and results-oriented. Because ultimately, every single thing I do comes back to benefiting the children of East Baton Rouge Parish.
Good evening. I am Candace Wright, the founding principal of Harvest Commons School. I'm an innovative educator with over 20 years experience specializing in technology integration, digital accessibility, and professional development. Currently, I serve as an instructional technology coordinator, and in this role, I focus on empowering our faculty by leading professional development, as well as assisting faculty with content creation and instructional design. Throughout my career, I've worn many hats, from a virtual math teacher and academic dean to the director of elementary state assessments. As academic dean, I oversaw middle school teachers, conducted observations of classroom lessons, provided feedback, and supported emerging teachers. I led data analyzation meetings and professional developments. I worked with faculty to provide students with writing workshops and opportunities to remediate their skills. My background also includes over a decade as an elementary public school teacher, working in 3 districts, including East Baton Rouge Parish, with experience in grades 1 through 5. During my time in the classroom, I developed lessons, analyzed data, and always kept my focus on student success. I hold a master's degree of educational technology from Northwestern State University and a +30 focused on instructional leadership. I also hold my LDOE leadership certification. Most recently, I presented at conferences like InstructureCon and Louisiana Teacher Leader Summit, focusing on the critical need for digital accessibility and universal design for learning. I'm passionate about providing students with an opportunity to learn and grow in new and innovative ways.
Now that you know us, let's get to know Harvest Commons, where students take root and thrive. Okay, so our mission is to nurture strong minds, strong connections, and strong character through rigorous academics and delivered in a meaningful real-world context. Our vision is really that HCS cultivates an inquiry-driven learning environment where students apply academic standards through authentic real-world projects that build curiosity, resilience, and a lifelong connection to learning. And the way that we do that is through a student-centered, project-based learning approach that integrates a rigorous Tier 1 curriculum with hands-on learning experiences rooted in our farm, gardens, and our community. creating multiple access points to learning, and enabling targeted differentiation that closes those academic gaps we see in all of our students. Okay, who do we serve? We serve every student. We are open to every student in East Baton Rouge Parish from kindergarten through 5th grade. We do anticipate the students that thrive best in our environment are students who learn differently. So that means you're looking at economically disadvantaged, minority students, students with disabilities, English learners, gifted and talented, and McKinney-Vento. And finally, we are focused on the fact that those students need support. We know that. We have strong community partnerships, and those include ABA services for our students on the autism spectrum and speech and occupational therapy services provided through multiple resources to the students that qualify for those services as well.
Our instructional model. Harvest Commons starts with the use of high-quality Tier 1 instruction used at Amplify for both ELA and Science, Ready Louisiana for Mathematics, and Bayou Bridges for Social Studies. We'll include differentiated small group instruction as part of our daily classroom routines to intervene, accelerate, and enrich our students. In addition to using standards-based classroom assessments, we will rely heavily on data from state assessments like LEAP, ELPT, and their Connect versions, DIBELS, Kite Numeracy Assessment, LEAP Practice, and MAP testing to guide teacher-created lessons and grow student performance. Our teachers will engage in 80 hours of professional development prior to the beginning of the first year. We will utilize our Tier 1 vendors and our partnerships with the EBR school system to train our students in best practices in lesson planning and delivery, assessment creation, data analysis, and how to create rigorous lessons to deepen understanding. Our model differs from other schools through our project-based learning rooted in real-world experiences. This will allow all of our students to remediate and accelerate their learning from the Tier 1 curriculum. These projects are rooted in our farm curriculum. Yes, we will have a farm. Gardens, goats, chickens. Students will attend a weekly farm class as part of their ancillary options. One example of what this looks like is the ability to take classroom learning and turn it into data collection on plant growth, analyzing seasonal changes to maximize plant yields, calculating the cost of keeping the animals, and a creation of a community farmers market where students will create promotional materials, calculate profit and loss, and determine supply and demand. We believe that early learning is essential for success in kindergarten and look to partner with the EBR School Early Childhood Network to support students from birth to pre-K. While we are excited to have our educational partners, what sets us apart is our partners with the therapy centers to support students with mental health opportunities, reading therapy for our dyslexic students, and ABA therapy for students on the autism spectrum, as well as speech and occupational therapy. How will we grow? Harvest Commons will drive academic growth for English language learners and students in the bottom 25% by utilizing ELPT, DIBELS, and LEAP data to inform high-quality Tier 1 instruction with high-dose tutoring based in the science of reading. Curriculum coaches will lead regular data meetings and feedback cycles to ensure that instructional adjustments are targeted and effective for meaningful growth. These internal efforts are further strengthened through strategic partnerships to provide additional language-rich monitoring and foundational skill reinforcement. Ultimately, the school aims to increase the percentage of students meeting or exceeding ELA and math growth targets through daily academic support and collaboration with the English language coordinator. Our student support team will include the classroom teacher, the special education teacher and ELL teacher, interventionist, and therapy providers. For our teachers, I, as the principal, will support them along with our student support specialists, therapy providers, and Tier 1 vendors. We will all look to help. We'll also look to the district for opportunities to be included in professional development. Our students will achieve. We will have assessment-driven mastery, in which teachers will utilize a coherent assessment system to monitor mastery, while curriculum coaches help facilitate feedback cycles and data meetings to ensure instructional adjustments are timely and aligned with student performance expectations. Through support of our strategic partners and instructional support to enhance the path to mastery by providing tutoring, mentoring, and enrichment opportunities that reinforce classroom learning and help students demonstrate proficiency in state and internal measures. For student mastery, Harvest Commons moves students toward mastery by combining strong Tier 1 instruction and real-world learning with a focus on clear Louisiana student learning targets and aligned assessments. And for our instructional model, students will engage in those standard-aligned core instruction that utilizes small group learning and targeted practice to support mastery across all performance levels. This academic foundation is further enriched by our project-based learning, such as our farm-based and community-connected initiatives, which allow students to apply their skills in a meaningful real-world context to improve retention.
So what is the impact? So by year 5 of implementation, 50% of students will demonstrate mastery of grade level standards for both math and ELA. Through strong and skilled Tier 1 instruction, small group supports, and aligned assessments. 70% of students, including English language learners and the bottom 25% students, will meet or exceed growth targets, strengthening our overall grow point performance. Upon opening, 80% of our teachers from day 1 will be implementing Tier 1 instruction through our focused professional development and classroom observation processes, while the remaining are being coached to ensure that they get up to that standard. Finally, all of our hands-on learning environments, including our school farm, will help students apply academic skills to authentic, useful life experiences, build problem-solving skills, collaboration, and career-connected skills. So this chart that you're looking at is actually data from the school that I previously founded that has the same model, and the students at that school are actually 52% qualify for free and reduced lunch, and 44% qualify for IDEA services. So a large portion are special education students, and you can see the growth. This works. It's a model that, when implemented correctly and with fidelity, the way that we are, students grow and thrive, and we cannot wait to bring this model. We hope that we can bring it to the city of Baton Rouge and the broader population. So thank you for your consideration, and let's start the questions. What you got?
First, we're going to go to public comments, and so, Coach.
We have several. Ms. Sledge did not wish to speak, but she's in favor of the item. Renata Marshall, Ms. Marshall.
President Stewart, Vice President Lewis, members of the board, and Superintendent Cole. Good evening. My name is Dr. Renata Marshall, and I serve as the Vice Chancellor for Academics and Student Support Services for the Southern University Ag Center, as well as the Associate Dean for the College of Agriculture, Family, and Consumer Sciences. I'm here to express strong support for Ms. Sarah Schnatter and her application to establish Harvest Commons School. We've worked with Sarah for numerous years through a formal partnership by providing young minds hands-on experiences in areas of animal science, horticulture, hydroponics, nutrition. These aren't just lessons that we've done with these students. They're real-world skills that connect science, technology, and agriculture in meaningful ways. Sarah has opened doors for my students as well at Southern University by creating internships and community engagement. She's passionate about making education immersive and inclusive, especially for children with unique needs. Her programs provide calm, nature-based learning that builds confidence and life skills. One particular moment that really stood out for me was during our Agriculture Week at Southern University. Sarah didn't just bring the children to Southern's campus. She was right there with them. She rolled up her sleeves. She asked questions, and she made sure that every child felt included. That kind of leadership and compassion is rare, and it's exactly what all of our students and children need. Harvest Commons School will extend this vision, providing real-world skills, character development, and innovative education for East Baton Rouge Parish students. The Southern University Ag Center is proud to stand behind her and continue supporting this effort. I urge you to approve this application today and help us bring this innovative, inclusive model to more children in East Baton Rouge Parish. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Mrs. Franklin?
Good evening. My name is Precious Franklin. As a former behavior therapist and a SPED teacher at a previous school, I feel this model would benefit our students. I feel like the student-led project-based learning is very fun and inviting for the population of students with autism and other disabilities. I feel like they are loved with this model, feel accepted with this model, and I feel like they are included. They feel as if they are included in a population where in the school systems that I've worked in previously, they did not feel as included and loved as this model makes them feel. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Simmons?
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Brandy Simmons. I am the board chair for Harvest Common School. When I first met Sarah Schnauder and Candace Wright, I immediately recognized their tenacity, their work ethic, and their passion for education. I've watched them develop this model, secure community partnerships, and demonstrate the operational savvy needed to lead this school. I agreed to serve as board chair because I believe in their ability to execute this vision and create lasting impact in our community. While I don't have children, I have seen many friends struggle to find the right school for their child. For one reason or another, a traditional educational environment has not been the right fit. The current alternatives are only accessible to those who can afford to spend the time or money to access them. So what happens to the children whose families don't have those resources? How do they access a school where they are seen, valued, and given a space to thrive? No child is the same, and Harvest Commons creates a space where differences allow for varied learning pathways. Students can foster curiosity and develop skills to excel in any setting. These students have been at the forefront of my mind before this process began, and they will long be on my mind after tonight. As a Baton Rouge native, I am deeply committed to this community and to leading this board with integrity. Our team brings a collective average of 80+ years of expertise across governance, finance, policy, and education. We know this endeavor is a challenge, and we're ready to do the work. I firmly believe in the capacity of this team, from the board to our school leaders, and I know their dedication will ensure students succeed. We're passionate about Harvest Commons as an option for students who need something different. We're ready to partner with the district, with the community, and with families who deserve access to a unique, high-quality school that meets their child's needs. I ask for your approval of Harvest Commons School to provide students with the education they deserve. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Mrs. Jessica O'Connell.
Thank you, board members, for having us here tonight and hearing comments and getting to learn a little bit more about Harvest Commons, which is such a passion and an impact project. So I'm Jessica O'Connor. I have the privilege of serving as a board member for Harvest Commons and also being acquainted with Sarah and other members of the team for more than 15 years. I'm a Baton Rouge native. I grew up in the elementary system, elementary school system, and the public system in Baton Rouge. I'm a lifelong community advocate and member here. And while I do not have children, I partner greatly in my advocacy work and in other places of my volunteer service, also working in higher education in Baton Rouge. One of the things that I have seen in Sarah and in Candace throughout this process is the dedication to surrounding themselves with exceptional minds who fill any gap that they may have in the learning process. And seeing the consulting and the expertise that has surrounded the inception, application, charter process, and the things that you saw here tonight goes far wider and deeper beyond anything that we could present in the short amount of time given. What I want to speak to specifically is the leadership capacity of Sarah, of Candace, the administration, and the board. You heard these remarks from Brandy, but we have a board with not only a deep commitment to the community and to Harvest Commons, but also a board who is willing to roll up our sleeves and do the work. We bring expertise and passion and interest from across different areas, all of which we bring directly and sometimes daily to Sarah and the team as we've gone through this process. Across multiple efforts, there are two threads that are constant to me with Sarah and the administrators she surrounds herself with. She expands access to high quality education, and she brings strong teams together to bring the right experts to the table. That is what elite leadership looks like. That is what elite leadership looks like in industry, and it's what it looks like in education. She's decisive, collaborative, congenial, and firm, including when the stakes are high. There have been difficult decisions and conversations amongst our board as this process has continued. That will not change, and the board is very prepared and very committed to receive and implement feedback as the process goes on to ensure that our students, our teachers, and our communities are the beneficiaries of this extraordinary mission and opportunity that we do not take lightly to bring forward to the community. We are, again, to emphasize, prepared to be a strong and working board alongside our teachers and administrators. I anticipate we will be doing everything from providing advice to painting hallways. We are all well acquainted with chickens and goats and things that maybe we didn't know quite as much about coming into our board service. That's not what you always expect. And so I respectfully ask that you consider as much of what you hear tonight and what you have an opportunity to engage with for Harvest Commons in bringing this exceptional concept forward to Baton Rouge and seeing what we can continue to do for our students and our teachers in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And last speaker is Mr. James Finney.
Thank you and good evening, and congratulations to the re-elected president and newly elected vice president. You recently went through a round where you closed several schools. This is not an appropriate time to consider opening new schools. Integrating agriculture into the curriculum is a great idea, but it shouldn't be limited to one school, and it shouldn't require that you contract with a private organization to create a completely new school. Furthermore, I heard things mentioned about a unique approach, but then I kept hearing Tier 1 curriculum and high-dose tutoring, which sounds like the same buzzwords we hear for every school. I'm not convinced there's anything particularly unique about this other than some fired-up people that are excited to help a certain group of students, and perhaps Mr. Cole should hire some of them and see if we can propagate some of their good ideas throughout the district, not at one school. What I did not hear at all in this proposal is where this would be located, what grades it would cover, what the enrollment would be, whether you would provide transportation for students, the basic nitty-gritty, whether the plan is to build a new building to be owned by a private company at public expense. And I suppose perhaps it's buried in the application, but clearly it wasn't important enough for them to list in the presentation. So I believe you should follow your consultant's advice and deny this application. And I'll take just a few seconds to mention my thoughts on Southern University, LSU, and BRCC. And without being too hard on the lady that spoke from the Ag Center, I am tired of the local universities and other education institutions of higher learning deciding they want to help a charter school as opposed to providing meaningful assistance to the entire school district and the entire community. It's really easy to get on a charter board or allege a partnership with an individual school, but we saw how that worked with J.K. Haynes Leadership Academy, with Southern University, different department, not the Ag Center as far as I remember. But just because somebody is associated with LSU or Southern or BRCC doesn't necessarily bring you any magic that you should give too much credence to. So please follow your consultant's advice. Please be fiscally responsible. Get whatever great ideas you can from these folks, have them join the EBR community, but don't create another undemocratically operated school. You have too many already. You should close several that you have and don't open any more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Finney. And my apologies, Ms. Terry Hebert. I'm sorry. I overlooked your card.
My apologies. I probably did not check the box that says wish to speak, but hi, board members. Thank you for having me. My name is Terry Hebert. I am a former behavior therapist and a current upper elementary school teacher. I have witnessed firsthand how a model that is child-led supports the growth and the development of the whole child, of all children, regardless of their socioeconomic status or their ethnicity, supports the development of the whole child. As board member Shamelin said earlier, academics are important and a top priority, but existing does not end when the school bell rings. I have witnessed how this model encouraged one of my own neurodivergent clients to thrive and shed the labels previously placed on him. This model not only supports neurotypical learners who can afford the education, but it also supports and specifically creates a space and provides the tools for neurodivergent learners to develop and learn to navigate the world around them. I'm sure you guys are already aware that there are not many schools probably not any schools in the East Baton Rouge Parish school system that are actively working to bridge that gap between those students who can afford a quality education and those who can't. I do believe that Harvest Commons is going to actively and rigorously work towards bridging that gap, and I urge you to approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we go any further, there were some questions that I would like Ms. Sarah to respond to in regards to the number of students, the building, and so. Thank you.
I was like, should we both come up? Because is this like question time? Okay. So at full capacity, we look to be at 424 students. So we are intentionally a smaller school. And that's really our goal. We want all of our members of our community to be known and to be seen and to build a strong community that our parents want to be involved in and know how to access and give back to. Second question, building. So I know, and I'm always open to great feedback, so thank you, Mr. Feeney, for your thoughts, because the fact of it is we do want to partner with East Baton Rouge Parish Schools. That's why we're here. Our goal is to be part of this community, and we would love to work with you guys. There's a couple buildings that we have looked at with the facilities team, one of them being South Boulevard, which is a very well-loved building, very well-loved, and it needs some attention. And we really want to give back to that space and make it a viable, lovely space for our students. It has the right amount of space for our animals, and it's really great. So we would love to talk to the district further about that opportunity and then be able to invest some money back to the district as well.
Thank you for that. And before you go sit down, we have some questions from board members that may allow you to be able to answer. So Mr. Lanis is first up.
Thank you, President Stewart. First, let me say kudos to your team. Someone who's a former educator in K-12, current educator in higher educational spaces. My hat goes off to you. Anybody who wants to work with students and do this level of work, you deserve your kudos, and to your whole team for putting this together. I just want you to know that my comments that I'm going to make tonight is in no way reflection of you, but on a reflection of the work that we currently see happening inside of our school district and where I think our board wants to see our district continue to go and grow. I was talking earlier tonight to a few board members and a few staff about something that has lingered up with me since for a couple of years now, and that has been the process has to be just as important as the product. For so long, we have looked and searched for continuity as a school district, And we're finally starting to get that. And let me just say, it must be a new year because I'm agreeing with a few things that Dr. James Finney said, because he was spot on. Our district schools have started to grow again. Our district has grown in itself. Staff is beginning to buy back in to believing that we can be the district that we have always aspired to be. And that's only happened in 1 year. You don't get that until you can build a system of cohesion as well as a system of consistency. And while we have grown in 1 year, and I say a lot of kudos goes off to our current superintendent, and I didn't say this before, but he is the highest scored superintendent in terms of evaluation. The only reason why I didn't get it over Ms. Charlotte Passy because I have not given mine yet, but I can guarantee you, Superintendent Cole, I told you, and he'll tell you I called him personally and told him, you will be the highest scored superintendent in EBR history, and that's just in 1 year. But you don't build that. You don't get to where we're trying to get. You don't hit those marks until you build a system of cohesion and a system of consistency. If we can do that in 1 year, imagine what we can do in 3 years if we stick to the plan. Just last year, Dr. James Finney said it. We went through one of our most comprehensive changes in our district's total operational process, which was downsizing schools, a lot of which our community had a lot of opinions about, but we had to make the hard choice. We talked about it for years, but finally we had a superintendent who had the courage to come in and get that job done. It was not easy. He built a team. We see the results happening. We know where we're going. And this is the different approach I'm gonna take tonight.
Yeah.
It's not about being emotional. I'm not going to be emotional, but I'm going to do something that the great philosopher, Mr. Sean Carter, AKA well known as Jay-Z, says, men lie, women lie, the numbers don't. So let's talk about the numbers. In 2024, EBR had 30 underperforming schools, 18 Ds, 12 Fs. Since that time, since Mr. Cole has taken over, not only have we grown the schools that were already doing well, but we have shrunk our F schools down from 12 to 8. That is a phenomenal deal for any school district. 2025, we're now at 8 F schools, and we're making progress. Again, this is in 1 year, but he did it. He's got 4 schools where they need to be, and 18 Ds, and we're working towards that. When we talk about our charter schools, because a lot of information is going to go out and say the charter schools are outpacing our traditional schools. But the numbers don't make sense. The math has to math. If you look at our current score that comes out from our district, which is fair, it's the information we get not only from the charter schools, but also from the Department of Education. We have 7 of the 13 current charter schools that are failing. 7 of the current 13 charter schools that are failing. That's nearly half of the schools that we currently have under our umbrella with charter schools. Now, I'm not saying that charter schools are bad. I am a proponent for school choice. But this is what I am saying. Fix what you have first before we expand and go into something else while we're also trying to fix what we're doing. Right. We're proving that the work is taking place with our traditional. We need to see the same thing for our charter. Our last charter school transition, 2 schools came in, Audit, Third Futures. They took over Idea Innovation and Idea Bridge. When Innovation was here and Idea had the school, they were already in F. It was a 48.4. Audubon said they would come in and they would take over the school knowing they had 1 year to do so. They dropped to a lower F, to a 47.8. Let's go to Idea Bridge. They were already a 45.3 F. When Bridge Academy or Third Futures took over, they dropped 7.1 points to a 38.4 F. What I am simply saying again, cohesion and consistency have to be in place. Now, I'm not saying those schools can't grow, but what I am saying is that we're not seeing the marks. And before we can increase that footprint, that is something that we must do and where we must see. Certainly, this is last but not least. 2024, we had 4 F charter schools. 2025, that's grown to 7. That's not my numbers. That's from the Louisiana Department of Education. I say all this to say, board members, and also to our community as a whole, let's continue to do the good work that we see happening right now. Allow this staff to do what they're doing. I think that they made the right choice by making the recommendation that they did. And it's not a reflection, again, of this current application. It is a reflection of what we've seen in the past and where we want to see our school district go. And we're going to truly commit to growing our district after doing the hard work that we did last year. Let's stick to the plan. Don't deviate, because some people are going to tell you, let's do it. That's their plan to do that. But what I would tell those same people is, go fix what you already have, and then we can have that conversation about how we grow. And the last thing I will leave you with, we still have an uncertainty with St. George School District. We don't know what's going to happen come May. And what we have to do is focus on what we're already working with, which is our amazing teachers. We saw what happened with Shenandoah. We saw what happened with other schools across our district. Let's continue to see that continuity grow across our entire area. And with that, I say, I move that we follow up with the recommendation to not approve. Thank you, and I appreciate you all for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Lannis. Do I have a second for that? Okay. I have Ms. Paul Lewis in the queue.
Thank you.
Did you have a say? No second? Okay, so the motion died.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this robust presentation and for everything that you've even shared from your heart tonight. I want to go back to September 18th, 2025. There was an email sent to us by Ms. Wright and Ms. Schnauder. I think I said that correctly.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
And it was sharing with the board that these young ladies were going to submit an application for a charter. And they wanted to know if we wanted to, if we were interested in speaking with them about it. And I replied, I don't know what any of my colleagues did, but I replied, same day, September 18th, 2025, at 10:04 p.m., pretty much at a place of saying, how dare somebody else ask us for a charter application. But in that, I said, good afternoon or good evening, Ms. Schnauder and Ms. Wright. Thank you both for reaching out and for sharing more about your vision for Harvest Common Schools. I appreciate your dedication to creating innovative, hands-on learning environments for children in Baton Rouge, and I would be happy to connect with you. As we plan for our conversation, though, I would love for us to frame our dialogue around a few important questions. The first one is, have either of you or any members of your board ever worked within the East Baton Rouge Parish school system or explored offering this type of model in partnership with our district? Then I asked, in reviewing the statistics of EBR, have you ever considered how such a program might be introduced and implemented within our traditional public schools rather than solely through a charter model? Then I asked, how do you view the current balance between the number of charter schools and traditional public schools in our district? And what reflections do you have about that distribution? Then I asked, what insights have you gathered from comparing the SPS score, school performance score, data of local Type 1 and Type 2 charters with that of our traditional schools? Then I asked, have you studied how charters impact teacher retention and student achievement in the school system, and how do you interpret those findings? Then I asked, given our district's ongoing conversations about resources for exceptional services and special education, have you considered how your strategies for supporting students with disabilities and exceptional needs could be shared in ways that strengthen and enhance our traditional public schools? Then I asked, finally, Could you be prepared to share the subsets of demographic data from your previous private school and how those compare with the demographics you anticipate serving through Harvest Commons as a charter? These are the areas I would like to explore together, as they represent critical considerations for equity, sustainability, and impact across our parish. At the conclusion of our meeting, I would also be interested in asking whether there might be a pathway for elements of your program to be shared with or integrated into the East Baton Rouge Parish school system to benefit a wider range of students. Thank you in advance for coming prepared with your authentic data and reflections. I look forward to a thoughtful exchange and the opportunity to learn more about your work. And that was September 18th, and it was shortly thereafter that I sent that same email to my colleagues. Thank you so much for sharing the presentation that you did. We did have that follow-up conversation. These ladies showed that they were very interested in becoming a part of our East Baton Rouge Parish school system, whatever that looks like, okay? So what I have here and what I pulled from their report and from the conversation is that they were, number one, not only willing to work with our EBR schools in finding a way to allow these strategies to be utilized in our school system, but that they were also willing to make those unique partnerships with our other stakeholders, including Southern University. I think what I found to be the most impressive is that this is a homegrown program. I am not one who is in favor of another national charter company coming into our district. But to say that these young ladies have given us their full background of them being products of Baton Rouge, of them going through EBR schools, of them teaching in this area as well, and not having any communication or being pushed towards us by a national charter, I must say that I am very impressed. They are not dependent on national interest groups. They serve a unique population. And once again, they have done their due diligence with reaching out to us since September of 2025. It is now January of 2026. As far as the use of their resources, of course, like I said, I am completely impressed with the idea of the fact that all of the resources that are being used are local. And so with that in mind, especially the ideas of student-led project-based learning and how can we learn from each other. So with that in mind, I move that we accept the application for Harvest Commons Charter School.
Okay, so I have a motion by Ms. Carla Powell Lewis, and I have a second by Ms. Soule. All right, Mr. Bullock.
Yes, I appreciate the presentation. I'm intrigued by your model. Can you address some of the concerns in the review about financial risk and mitigation planning or lack thereof?
Absolutely. So actually in our budget, what you're going to see is that a lot of times you're going to see a lot of upfront grant funding. We did not do that. So when you sit down with me, you'll meet me and know that I'm a very conservative person. So I actually included only one grant, which is there are lots of grant resources out there. And so we do expect that as number one. Number two, we are looking at hiring as we bring students in. So on a weekly basis, setting benchmarks and making sure that we're not overhiring and offering contracts that we cannot fulfill. We are also very strategic. I work with 4-sector. They have a variable budget that we look at that we can, on the dime adjust and make sure that we're making strategic decisions in that way. And then I will say too, we are very strategic with our partnerships. So looking at transportation, that was a question. Yes, we have transportation. So looking at our transportation budget, looking at our vendors, like we're planning on using East Baton Rouge Parish as our school lunch program provider, all of those things. At what point in most likely year 3 or year 4, do we bring that in-house so that we can pick up some revenue from that? So really being strategic with how do we cut costs, but also keep the program what it is.
All right. And then the only other thing I wanted to ask, there was some concern about the qualifications for the principal. I just wanted you to explain, why you selected the principal and what went into that
Absolutely.
decision.
Yeah. So Ms. Wright has 20 years of experience. She has worked as an academic dean. She has worked in leadership capacity in multiple school areas and school districts. She has spoken at conferences. She is an educator at heart to teachers. And when you're around her, you immediately feel that impact. She connects to educators. She coaches them when there is a weakness, and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter whether she's teaching at that school or she's not. I've seen her walk into and see a teacher who needs help, and she steps in and helps them. She's like, oh, I see that you're struggling with this. Let me show you how you actually unpack this unit. Let me show you how you use these tools. And someone who can walk in and an educator is not scared of their leader, that's powerful. She is also very, very driven by this model because of a personal impact. Her son does qualify for IDEA services. And so this is where it's going to get real. He has changed. The amount of growth that he has had in this type of model is amazing. And she came and she said to the board, if there is ever an opportunity for me to apply, I want to apply. She said, this opportunity needs to be available for every student in EBR.
Point of clarification.
Yes.
If possible, why don't you let her share her story?
I would love to. She can do that.
I am a mother of 3 students who are products of public education. My oldest has graduated and moved on to college. My elementary student is at Dufrock Elementary and is thriving there because it is the perfect school for her. My middle child did start out in EBR public schools and had an excellent experience. He is diagnosed with ADHD, dyslexia, and he is on the autism spectrum. We found early on that there was a school that did cater to one of those diagnoses, and so we decided to move him to that school to better suit his needs. It did not work out for us. He regressed. He regressed 2 years. He was put on psychiatric medication because he was deemed a behavior problem. When I found a school that was project-based with the farm, because he loves the animals, and we made the decision and had the privilege of being able to pay for that education, within the first 6 weeks, because it was the end of a school year when we moved him, I had my child back. He was off of those psychiatric medications. He looked forward to visiting the animals all summer. He looked forward to going back to school in the spring. The school helped us provide ABA therapy within the school, and he needed 1 year of that therapy before he graduated. He has emotional regulation, and not only did I get the kid I knew prior to his distrust for education back, I've got a child who exceeds all expectations. He is preparing for middle school, and we are excited to see who he's going to become. He still reads on a first grade level as a 12-year-old. But he has such a love for the animals and for the help that he has been given with this model that he sees himself one day having a farm in which he offers children to come in for therapies with those animals. It's given him a purpose.
So with this reason, her passion is tangible. I mean, and her drive for working with educators, partnered with that, is incomparable.
I love my current position. I love what I do when I work with teachers. I have held on to that that leadership certificate for a very long time until I found just the right place. And because of my passion for what I see in my child and his peers, this is the right place for me to accept a principalship. Not just a leadership role, I've had leadership roles, but to have the title of principal and support the teachers so that they can provide the same opportunities that my child was provided.
Mr. Lewis? Mr. Gode.
Yes, thank you. One area I wanted to explore a little bit, and if I understand correctly, this is not part of the charter school portion, but is your early childhood education part. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it's separate from the charter school but connected?
Absolutely. So in August of this year, I stepped into a leadership role of turning around an early childhood center that's been around for 69 years. There were about 80 children in the center at the time, and they were losing about $10,000 a month. And the leadership team came to me and they said, look, we just would like your insight. Can you help us work through this? We're trying to figure out where to go next. Where do we, what steps do we take? And I went in, and the first thing I said was, the education isn't here. Like, what are we doing here? So we immediately implemented a Tier 1 curriculum through the LDOE and across all classrooms. After that, we went ahead and started our observations. So we use class observations through the LDOE as well. And we applied for the Early Childhood Network because I said, this opportunity and this type of education needs to be available to all students. And I truly believe in that there is never a barrier, there should never be a barrier to entry. And with early childhood funding, it's not always an easy entry, but we can help them through that. And I do that frequently. And then actually, as I have transitioned or finished this kind of project, the board actually came and said, look, we want to merge with Harvest Commons. We want y'all to take it and make it your own. And so we will be running this early childhood program, which is birth through age 5. We are very excited about that. And our goal is to run birth through 5th grade and be able to meet children from the time that they enter Baton Rouge until they transition to middle school.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure people understood that. I also want to say, because I have personal experience in what you're doing. I was one of the founding board members of the Thrive Charter School. And like you, when Thrive first came up, we were written up by the evaluator to deny because we didn't have all of the big financial backers. We didn't have all of the other things that was there. But what we had was a strong vision and a bunch of strong people who wanted to make it happen. Also, we were doing something unique because I don't think the school district can provide specific unique things across the board. You can't, it just won't work. We've had hydroponics programs and they foundered because these kinds of things take passion to make them work. And trying to spread this kind of passion across this many schools and different things, it just doesn't work that way. So we took Thrive, and yeah, like you talking about, I sanded and painted and did all those kinds of things with my wife, with my kids and other folks. And today that school, I don't know how many they have today, it's somewhere around 300 or 400, but all of those kids, it's just amazing what has happened with those kids. And, they're 100% economically disadvantaged. I think they were, last time I looked, they were 100% ESS type students and things like that. But it's the passion that goes with that to make it work. Now, that school has since been taken over by the state, and it's very successful and done those kinds of things. But I understand how hard and difficult it is to pull together an application. Because I guarantee the application for Thrive was made on my kitchen table. How difficult it is to pull all of that together and pull all of this when the comparisons to being made are being made to people with staffs of hundreds and all these sorts of things, out of town things, because a local charter school has a very difficult time. They don't have all the support structure. They don't have all of the carpet structure. They don't have all of the history and everything to do it. So for one, I applaud you for trying to take the leap and making this happen. And, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea whether or not you at the end are going to be successful or not. I just don't. I don't think anyone on this around this dais has that idea. But I can see in what's in you and what's in your board and what's in your staff that I want to give you guys a chance. I think you guys deserve a chance to do this because I think you're going to reach out to a unique student. And quite honestly, I know we have an issue around enrollments and things like that, but I think many of the students you can have are students who wouldn't be an EBR anyway if there wasn't for a school like you. And so I don't view that, and we're not talking about 5,000 students, we're talking about 1% of the students that we have. But again, I think you're going to serve a population that in many cases that would not be in an EBR school if they're not in your school. So I congratulate you on that and wish you the best of luck, and I will be quiet from that point. Thank you.
Ms. Sule.
Phew, you guys, we have had a lot of questions and a lot of hard questions, and kids are worth it. And these schools are worth it. And I have been so proud to be up here with this board tonight and be like, yes, ask that hard question. And then I've been like, yes, Sarah, way to go. Way to answer that. And I'm just so grateful. And Southern University, I'm so grateful that y'all came tonight to support them and for all that you do in our schools. Thank you. Thank you. Of course, I want more of Southern, always, always. But thank you. And thanks for taking your time tonight to come. Sarah, thank you for what you already do for kids and EBR. To hear that you want to be a part of EBR school system is so encouraging. And I am so grateful for that. And I would see Harvest Commons as one of our schools. We're in this together, right?
We are.
Yes. And so I am so thankful that y'all are willing to put in the hard work because these kids are worth it. And I am so excited to support you guys and what you have to offer for EBR. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin.
Thank you. I just want to follow up on a couple of points my colleague, Mr. Gode, made. While I think it is, I certainly see that that the district-run schools can absolutely have passion, can absolutely have some different programs like hydroponics, like Amplify Ed at Terra. At the same time, no school needs to be or can be or should be all things to all people. We should not. Yours is a wonderful program, and I'm glad you want to start this. We don't need a farm at every Baton Rouge school, and so I think that's exactly why we have charter schools, so we can try something different, so we can have a different place for kids who may not fit within the normal strictures of our institutional education system. So I appreciate what y'all are doing, and I certainly support your application. Like Mr. Gode, it's very hard to start a charter school, and the idea that, well, you got to have a complete comprehensive plan and identify all the staff for a school that might not ever come to existence if we don't vote the right way, just 7 months before you have to actually take in students. You're not going to have every single possible answer. You have to. You have shown in your application that you know the sort of things that you may face, that you're prepared to address that you have supporters who are going to support you financially and otherwise. So I think that while there's a risk in any new enterprise, and y'all might fail. I hope you don't. I know that. That's just a reality of everything, right? But schools that we start fail, and programs that we start fail sometimes. And so, at any rate, I support your application, and I wish you all the best, and I hope this is very successful.
Mr. Lewis.
Sarah, you guys did a great job with your presentation. When I started reading it, The one thing that got my attention was project-based learning. It's been around a long time. It's not new. Matter of fact, my high school English teacher did her thesis on project-based learning, I think in 1974, 75.
Incredible.
So it's been around a long
Yes.
time. I agree with all things that have been said about, having a school that has a certain niche. But also, Mr. Lannis, I agree with his points as well. We've had to sit here and make some really tough choices this last year. We can't change horses in the middle of the stream. If you pass, I hope you're successful. I really do. The farm animals, my grandson is 23 years old. He said when he was a kid he wanted to be a veterinarian. And I'm like, yeah, you'll grow out of it. Now he's working on his first year of his master's in veterinary medicine at Tuskegee Institute. So, when we give kids pathways, they can succeed. But again, we're at a crucial point in EBR right now. And I just think that, we made some tough choices, and, tough times don't last, but tough people do. And, I'm going to stick with the choices I've made about a year ago when we sit here and we start talking about closing schools and redoing transportation and all those things. And we have an outstanding aquaponics program at Westdale.
Yes.
We have an outstanding agriculture program at Ostruma. So we do have these things in our schools already. There's community gardens in schools. At Capitol Middle, there was one there. So what you're doing has a place in education. I just don't know if this is the right time. I really don't, but I love what you're doing. And believe it or not, I'm cheering for you.
We appreciate
I
that.
am
And thank you
cheering
for that honesty.
you because it's and I mean some decisions we make with our hearts and some decisions we make with our heads. And this decision has been tugging at my heartstrings all week. All week. It really has. But again, we made some decisions last year that tugged at my heartstrings, and so far so good.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
but good luck though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Point of information. What school did you say you all were looking to locate at?
Mr. Lewis's district, South Boulevard.
Okay, I would just offer this to you all is to have some conversations if you do get approved tonight, because I do piggyback on a lot of what Coach said. We want to see you all succeed if you do get it.
Yeah.
I just had philosophical reasons as to why and operational decisions as to why I made my choice. But what I also say is that I would strongly ask that you all get with the staff, because if I'm not mistaken, South Boulevard is on a deferred maintenance list. There's a lot that has to get fixed at that school. That's the reason why it's no longer a swing space, and it was transitioned to an administrative space or administrative site.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other board comments? Is that all the comments? With that being said, I'm sorry, Mike, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, so since there are no more comments, no more public comments, all those that are in favor for this item, say yes.
Yes.
All those that are not in favor, say nay. And then now we have the selection to vote on the computer.
Can we just, point of order, can we clarify what the motion is?
The motion was to approve. The motion was by Ms. Carla Powell Lewis, and the second one was by Ms. Sule.
Okay.
Yeah, the motion was to accept the application.
Accept the application, exactly. So do I need to call it again, or? Okay.
just to further point, or just to clarify one more time, Ms. Shamlin, a yes vote is to approve their application for the charter school.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
The motion carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Before you leave, please get with Mr. Lockett before you leave, and he'll share some information with you about some things we have going forward.
We will.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
I'm very excited to serve with you guys.
Thank you. Item number 2, charter application, Community Roots Leadership Academy. Mr. Tollett.
Ma'am, at this time, we'll move to the second application. That will be Community Roots Leadership Academy. And based on the completed review process, the Charter Office will be following the recommendation of the Learning Collective and recommending that the board not approve the application to move forward. Once again, the Learning Collective remains available virtually to respond to any board members' questions related to this application. We do not have any members from Community Roots present here this evening. So I give it back to you, Madam President.
Any comments from the audience? There are no, let me see, there are no online comments. Are there any public? Oh.
We have Mr. James Finney wish to speak.
I could repeat the comments that I made in the last comment, but I won't waste your time, even though they apply to this one too. I do have 2 additional comments. If this is not important enough to the folks that have made the charter application to make an effort to be here, it should be an easy decision for you. If they want to try again next year, let them come and make their pitch. I think you'll all agree that the folks behind me made a very strong pitch for their particular idea. And one more comment before I sit down that applies as much to the previous one as this one. You can do unique one-off programs without creating a charter. I think they're called magnet schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Finney. Are there, come on, that's one. Your card, yeah.
Hi, I'll put a card in afterwards.
Introduce yourself, though.
Tanya Nyman, District 7, longtime advocate in the community. And this is no comment on either of the specific applications, but about the process in terms of asking for relevant information. Dr. Finney raised some interesting points that are very relevant to the overall health of the district. I know a lot of people want to reiterate things. We all are worried about providing a quality education to children. We all care about children, but some of us do want to remind folks that the very structure of an education system and the financial matters do affect the community's ability to fulfill that responsibility. So asking things about the building, for example, are they going to contract with a private company in order to use public tax dollars to purchase another asset for a outside company is irrelevant. Whether the teachers are going to have access to the TRSL system and a secure retirement is relevant to the community. And as Dr. Finney also pointed out, it is true that you don't need to push back a little bit against Mr. Martin. You don't need a charter school to do special programs, right? That in the best of all possible worlds, a public education system could open specifically tailored schools to serve a niche community. So we have, for example, South Downs Pre-K. That is a school that serves children who are non-traditionally developing. I'm forgetting the perfect word. And then it has traditionally developing students in those classrooms as well. But it's a very small, some of the children are profoundly disabled. And the only reason why they can have such a school that serves those children remarkably well is because of the size of this district. And then those unique children can be transported to that one school. And so it's cost effective instead of, as Mr. Martin's saying, you can't have it at every school. But that's because our district can pool its resources to do those types of things. The high school I went to in New Orleans was a unique school, right? It was a traditional public school system. It required 2 tests to get in, plus a GPA, and it did remarkably well. You can do things like that in public school system. What pains me so much is the way in which misinformation leads people to believe that they can only create unique programs in a charter school model, which is destabilizing the teaching profession more often than not, and siphoning our public tax dollars into private corporations' coffers. And I really wish we could push back against that narrative in a variety of ways, especially making the application process more transparent about those issues. And I'd also like to point out that when your own in-house, I don't know who recommended that both applications be denied, quite frankly, there was very little explanation to why they didn't want these applications denied. And so I should think that just like the charter applicants come up here and have to defend themselves, that person should have to come up here and explain why they found that their application failed to meet the mark. And so more information for the public, and certainly more information about the relevant matters that actually pertain to democracy and fiscal responsibility and the teaching profession. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Landis.
Thank you again, Madam President. I agree with several things that Ms. Nyman just laid out clearly. If the people who we put in charge of evaluating, who are part of our district, and also the independent evaluator tells us directly why and gives us a recommendation not to, and we supersede that, I just want us to remember that every choice has a consequence. I'll say this again. This has nothing to do with the current people who are putting their name in. I just want to be clear about that. There are a lot of lingering effects of what's going to happen, not only with how it's going to affect our school district, but also our entire parish. We don't know what's going to happen with St. George. Let's say St. George gets approved. You lose a significant portion of your tax dollars as well as your building and infrastructure and operations overnight. You approve these schools right now when we are trying to track and move forward and right-size our district. You have just exacerbated that issue. Now, you may not care about it today, but I can guarantee you, it's election year. People are paying attention to what is happening. Now, some people, they won't be running again, so that doesn't matter to them. But for the ones who are, I want you to just be mindful and cognizant of that. I get it. We want to approve a lot of different schools. There's a lot of great ideas that we want to bring inside of our school district. But as Coach said already, timing is key. It's just simply not the right time. People will make you a whole lot of promises, but I want you to be clear and remember who matters at the end of the day. The people making you the promises are the taxpayers that you represent across this district and the kids that go to our schools. And I'll just stop there. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
I agree with much of what Mr. Landis said and much of what Ms. Nyman said. I think Ms. Nyman was born a little too late. I think she would have did well in the 60s as a radical leader. But no, I'm saying that in love, Tanya. I want to talk about the second application. Why waste our time if you're not going to show up? If you're out there watching on television, why not have the guts to show up and defend what you're asking for? Because you want to go to Bessie, you want Bessie to rubber stamp you so you can rape our district. Guys, I'm telling you, this ain't nothing. Now, community harvest, I wish y'all the work in the world. You had the nerve to come here and stand on your own 2 feet and state your case. These guys, these community roots or whoever they are, why ain't they here, Mr. Lockett? Why aren't they here?
Well, Board Member Lewis, they did not show up. That's all I have for you. They did not show up. But we did invite them at the end of our.
No one's supporting community roots. And if you have any more customers like Community Roots, they're going to waste my time reading this, tell them don't bother.
Okay.
Ms. Paul.
Well, I was hoping to be able to say this with Dr. Finney in the room. For once, at least in the last year or so, I can say that I agree with him and I agree with Coach. And thank you, Mr. Lockett, for just giving your simple answer because, I mean, they applied. They did not do their due diligence because.
They don't want to type it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that was my statement as well, that how can you say that you are coming up for approval when you are not here, nor have you done anything to communicate with this board? Thank you.
Okay, so since that concludes our comments, I'll just read the item again, charter application, discussing consideration of Community Roots Leadership Academy charter application and related matters. Do I have a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the consultant to deny.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion to deny by Mr. Gode, and I have a second by Ms. Paul Lewis.
Point of order, yeah. If the motion is to deny, then a yes vote is to deny?
Yeah, so for clarification, the motion is to accept the recommendation to deny.
Right.
Okay. So a yes vote means denial of the application?
That's
okay.
correct.
Because the recommendation was to deny, so it's okay. So that approval to accept the recommendation was by Mr. Gode, and it's second by Ms. Paula Lewis. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Yes?
Aye.
All those in opposition say no. Madam Secretary.
Please vote.
Madam Secretary, can we do a roll call? Having problems with the computer.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
Just for clarification, we're having problems with Darius' computer. Yes.
District 2, Mr. Lannis.
Just for clarification, yes.
District 3, Ms. Powell Lewis.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5, Vice President Lewis.
Further clarification, yes.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Yay.
District 7, Mr. Gode.
For further clarification, we always have problems with Mr. Lannis. Yes.
District 8, Ms. Sule. District 9, Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving along to item 3, High School Experience Initiative Group 1 projects. Consideration of a request to approve the Group 1 projects for the High School Experience Initiative and authorize the superintendent to negotiate and execute contracts in compliance with state bid and procurement law. Do I have any public comments? No online comments, no cards? Madam Secretary, you didn't have no cards? Okay. All right. And okay. I have a motion to approve by Mr. Russ. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Powell Lewis. Mr. Martin.
I support it. I was just getting in the queue to make the motion.
There we go. All right. It's okay. Mr. Gode.
Presentation, ready?
Well, let me say this. We do have a very robust, thorough presentation, but if the motion is going to be approved, I will say, no, we don't need that presentation. We have a very robust presentation that has been provided and all of the backup documentation. So all of the backup documentation has the presentation. So it's totally up to the board. We can go through the very robust presentation we have. It's totally up to the board.
Point of information, you said that we can wait
Yeah,
to the
we can
general
wait.
body, I mean, to the general meeting.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
wait to the.
I just want this clarified.
Yeah, we can wait
I
to the
agree.
regular meeting. Go ahead.
Okay, because that'll give me more time to scribble on my paper. We can wait till the general meeting.
Is the robust presentation in board docs?
It is.
I don't. It's just one page. That's what I'm trying to.
April says she's editing now.
Point of information, did we call for public comment already?
We did.
Oh, okay.
And if I'd known y'all weren't going to do the presentation, I would have made a comment.
It's the option.
I for one, would like to see a quick presentation.
As I said, we're prepared.
Yeah, let's go with it.
We could go ahead.
So at this time, we're going to have.
But instead of, well, you said
Yeah, at this time, well, you know my last two words always be brief, but at this time, we're gonna have Pam Whitley and Casey Gilbert come up and walk us through. I'm super, super, super excited. The board approved this initiative some time ago, and we have done a great deal of work of outlining and laying out. The team spent a great deal of their time during the 2.5-week Christmas break here, making sure we were working through process and procedures. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Chief Gilbert. And before we do that, we heard earlier tonight a principal talk about the work Casey Gilbert, his team, and Hess have provided to Shenandoah. But I want to say to the board, we started with First Day 2.0, where every one of our schools received a great deal of treatment in terms of painting in the parking lot, striping. School buildings were painted during the school break. So he is pushing the team to upgrade facilities, and I think principals are extremely proud of the level of support they are receiving from he and his team along with HES. So kudos to you, Mr. Gilbert, for continuing to raise the standard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Superintendent Cole. To President Stewart, Vice President Lewis, to all the board members, we'll be brief. I just want to introduce the team who's working on it. Judith Anderson, CSRS, we've been working in a 4-person team. Also, Latasha Laventino, we've been working together since the approval of this piece to be able to come up with the language, the jargon, the infrastructure, and the framework, and I'll let Pam walk us through it. Mrs. Pam Whitley.
Okay, I will be brief. I'll first say Happy New Year to everybody. I'm not sure I've seen everybody. And once again, we're going to talk facilities. So you remember we had a discussion at the workshop about a master facility plan. And this athletic piece will be embedded in that plan. So if you remember, I introduced the concept of lanes. So this will be an additional lane based on your approval of the bond. And I think one of the things I am so proud of as we take this on is to see the district focus on the whole person. I've heard extensive conversation about academics. I've heard extensive conversation about development of the staff, and I think we all know, being in South Louisiana, that athletics and the arts are a part of who we are. So to see this makes me very proud because it's a huge investment, and I think the holistic approach to developing citizens. The high school initiative is really to kind of take a step back and say, how do we make sure that that part of the experience is the same across the district? And so in some of our early conversations, some of you have kind of gotten a feel for how it worked now. But one of the first things I asked about is, what is the standard? So if we're going to have a football field at high school A and a football field at high school B, are they the same? And the question is, not so much today. So you'll see in the documentation that we provided to you We started by getting a list of what we call the art of the possible, working with the schools, figuring out the as-is state and what the list was in terms of what they wanted from both a athletic and a fine arts perspective. And I think that came up to be about 65 projects when we kind of went through it. Looking at that, we then started to say, okay, if we're going to make those investments, we want them to be very consistent. So you'll see we are bringing to you today Group 1, and there is a chart that looks like this that gives you exactly what's in Group 1. And honestly, those are the things that are ready to go. We do know we need to do some work, but you'll see investment in theaters, you'll see investment in sound systems. So those are things that don't take an extensive procurement process, but it will get us started. And you'll start to see something very quickly. So that's what Group 1 was all about. Group 2 is going to be a lot more work. And we are starting to do the analysis on Group 1, but that will take standards type development that we're working with athletics now to actually put in place. And the idea is to start with the types of projects that are in the list, or that are on the list. So that would be your football fields, your tracks, looking at field houses, weight rooms. So if we make that investment and when we make that investment, those things are consistent. So as a part of this work, you'll see standards, and then we'll be able to group the projects based on alignment of time, when it makes sense to do those projects, because there's some things you only want to do in the summertime. There's some things you may want to do off-season. So we're looking at alignment between what the ask is, what the right timing is to invest in those things, the standards by which we want to develop those things, and then, of course, it has to be worked in alignment with the schools. So that's the brief version.
We thank you. I mean, you like to say
No. Hopefully that gives you kind of overview. There's a lot here, as you know. We're looking at $42 million, but our commitment is to make smart decisions and to do it in a consistent way across the district.
Point of information, Madam President. You said it's $42 million. Do we know who bought the bonds? Do we have that information on hand?
I don't know.
Kelly? Who purchased the bonds?
Who was willing to invest in EBR school districts by purchasing those bonds?
So we work with Foley and Judell. There were multiple buyers of the bonds. I can't tell you an individual name. I can tell you our coupon rate was 5% though. And they were bought at a premium.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? Did we do public comments?
We did that.
Okay. Mr. Martin.
Yeah, I just want to express my appreciation. I think the thing that I liked most about what you talked about was standards and developing standards, so we don't have to have a perennial question, well, this school has that quality, this school doesn't have that quality, are we playing favorites, or being inequitable? When we have standards and says, this is what we expect, then that gives us all goalposts and something to strive for and something to recognize when we're falling short. So I really appreciate that and the effort that went into this. These are clearly projects that are ready to go, get this project off to a good start. I think that's great. I do want to point out that Tara needs a new track. Thank you very much.
And the other point I would like to make, because I think you'll find value in this as well, is we're going to do the standards, but we're also going to do life cycle costs. So a lot of times we buy what's cheap,
Right.
and then it costs a lot on the back end. So we're also going to look at life cycle costs for those investments.
Yeah, thank
you, and thank you for coming and continuing to work with us.
Okay.
We
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
For a very long
Don't go nowhere
time.
because
Don't
they
leave.
might
You
have
gotta-
some
And you too, Mr. Gilbert. We love both of y'all.
Mr. Gode. Okay. Mr. Lewis.
I was interested to see, oh, I'm sorry. I was interested to see how you guys broke it out, like group one. I remember at the retreat, you had given us all the schools and their wish lists. How close to that wish list are we staying?
So we are staying affordably close to the wish list. Of course, there's always more on the wish list than you could afford. However, we're dealing with cost estimates. I personally think that there's some opportunities there when we get into the procurement. If we're buying 6 football fields versus 1, are there some cost savings that we can get by working with particular vendors? But the standards put us on a path to do that, because once we know what we're buying basically the same in different places, it gives us some opportunities.
And Coach, I want to make mention on the very last page of the presentation, you see a very detailed outline of how many of what has been requested by schools.
Right.
And so therefore, that led us to the conversation around we ought to be able to get more with less because we're doing a standard-based operation across the board instead of doing one-offs. And then this school might charge us, this school might cost us this price, and then we're doing this school, and it might cost us another price because we're doing one-offs. We want to look at the process holistically and then offer this up because we do want to do our very best to give every school what he or she or they have asked for relative to the list, which is why we're starting with the phase 1 projects, which aren't necessarily athletic. Some are workforce, some are the arts, some are lighting, some are systems, and then looking across the board to see what that is. So just wanted to make sure you know that we're doing our very best to provide them with what they're asking for. And then here's the other thing, Coach. Some of these schools are in a tax plan for other opportunities to have work done on their campuses down the road. And so when we're going through a procurement process and looking at bids, we want to combine opportunities to say to vendors, if you're going to do this work and this work, how do we save cost relative to what those particular pots of money can pay for? Because there may be some synergy there to make sure that we are maximizing. If Broadmoor High has money in the tax plan, we know what is happening at Broadmoor Middle. If Scotlandville High has money in the tax plan in addition to the high school experience, McKinley has money in the tax plan in addition to the high school experience, there may be some synergy there so that we can use those funds a little bit smarter and save some money so that we can give everybody what they're asking for.
Okay. So Arlington Prep, stage, storage, curtains. In the gym, you got sound system. Group 1, is that Arlington Prep?
Yes.
In the beginning, we started having these conversations, and we talked about 20 mil, 20 mil. 20 mil athletics, 20 mil arts, fine arts. Well, on my little scratch sheet right here, I'm just going over the numbers. I hope we can find some cost savings because we can't do what we said we were going to do with $20 million in athletics. And just one thing I'm going to caution us, because when I read the documents from the board retreat, we talk a lot about equity, gender equity. I don't see a whole lot of Title IX stuff for young ladies in this plan. I don't. I had granddaughters who played sports in EBR, and they had to change clothes in the bathrooms. They had to ride buses from one school to another school because they couldn't practice, they couldn't dress. The gym floor was busted up, had been busted up since May, and nobody in our maintenance department thought they should fix it. So we need to be real careful about how we spread this money around. Now, Group 1 looks fine, but when we get down to the nitty-gritty, and you start talking about 8 football fields, everybody want AstroTurf, and girls don't have locker rooms, I'm just telling you,
so
we better be careful.
So I would first thank you for making that comment, because we have had discussions about Title IX and making sure that we bring projects that are Title IX compliant. The plan is to embed that in the standards.
I understand, because we talked about standards.
Yes.
And when I bumped into you the other night and we started talking about standards, I'm like, well, let me go pull out my, and let me read about these standards, because I need to find out where these things are going to be embedded in the standards. Because with $40 million to spend, you're going to have construction companies from north, south, east, where everybody coming trying to get a piece of the money, because people see us as a cash cow, and you can do shoddy work, and ain't nobody doing the checks and balances. That's why we get schools and stuff falling apart 5 or 6 years after we finished projects, because we had shoddy work done. Now, I'm up here for fiduciary and kids. I don't really care a whole lot else what you may think about what I'm doing up here, but I'm not going to let you mess up the money, and I'm not going to let you mess over kids. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just putting that in the atmosphere.
And I think we appreciate that, and the community appreciates that, but I just want you to know that we have internally as a team talked about Title IX and that being very important. And also understanding the standards and understanding the prioritization of the projects. That's why we're taking our time developing the standards first, so that when we do group it, we can make sure that we can show how those things have been addressed and what we bring forward.
I know you're going to do a great job, but I would be remiss if I didn't say what I felt about it.
I always appreciate it.
Okay.
Mr. Lannis.
Thank you for that, Coach. That was quite interesting and entertaining. Let me just say that. I won't be long. I will say, I'm going to piggyback off something that school board member Patrick Martin said. I'm not lobbying for things in my district, but I'll just mention, and this has nothing to do with you all. This has a lot to do with promises that Aramark made a long time ago that they never fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And because you're talking about gender equality. I have a girls' softball team that was supposed to be filled and fixed 10 years ago. We could not find the dollars over the course since I've been here, but I would only ask that be considered at Glen Oaks High School.
Okay.
Those kids can't even play at their own school because they have to go somewhere else. So if we have it within the plan, I would ask that you just be considered, that we do something, because I don't think that would cost a whole lot to just men and till the field, but it hasn't happened. Okay. That was something that Aramark should have did, but I won't go into Aramark because I'll be up here all night. The other one would be the old Glen Oaks Middle School space. I have had conversations with Judith. We walked that area, had a lot of great conversations about it. I know that we tore down the school, but one of the things that still stands there is the structure of the auditorium. I know that Forest Heights does not have their own auditorium. We made some changes in the past, but those kids put up phenomenal performing arts, because performing arts is inside of the bond. Mm-hmm. They put up phenomenal performances every single year, and I think there should be some type of shared space, because they can't do it at Glen Oaks High School. It's just too much. It's too much going on there. But I think a parking lot, maybe, again, consideration. Parking lot, do some renovations to the auditorium. I think the community would be quite happy. And listen, you can even name it after me if you want to, but just consideration. Thank you. I appreciate the work y'all do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So that concludes our comments, and we thank you guys for the presentation and answering those questions. We do have a motion on the floor that was by Mr. Russ and, of course, seconded by Ms. Paula Lewis. All those in favor of approving this say yes.
Yay.
Yay.
All those in opposition against say nay. Madam Secretary.
Please vote.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have item E, next meeting dates and announcements. The regular meeting to be held on January 15th, 2026 at 5 p.m. in the Central Office Boardroom. Committee of the Whole meeting to be held on February 5th, 2026 at 5 p.m. in the Central Office Boardroom. Coach?
We are adjourned. You ain't got to go home, but you got to leave here.
In case anyone's wondering, it's 10-7 Miami. 7 minutes left in the first half.
Thank you.
That's what I've been waiting for.